Hello everyone and welcome back to the Rush Green car park. John T. Coleman here from Football London following today's pre-match press conference slightly earlier today, a 10 a.m. start compared to a normal 1:30 start, with West Ham travelling up to Manchester later today after training before tomorrow night's FA Cup 5th round tie against Manchester United at Old Trafford. Just spoke to David Moyes, obviously good spirits around the place following the 4-0 win over Nottingham Forest. Although, to be fair, even when things have been struggling, you've always had the impression that it's never been too downbeat here, which is probably going to work in West Ham's favour, and probably went some way towards this turnaround on Saturday. Obviously for West Ham, while the league hasn't been going so well this season, they are still both in this competition and the Europa Conference League. The first leg away at Areola'S next Thursday. West Ham really want to get far in both competitions if possible. We know there's going to be a few changes tomorrow night from the side that won at Nottingham Forest, certainly 3 at least. No Vladimir Kufal, he's got a heel injury, but saw him come off at half time against Forest. Danny Ings is of course cup tied, so we won't be seeing him. Although it could perhaps work as a sort of blessing in disguise, give him a full week's rest before the trip to Brighton. And the other one, sort of one of the big stories, or sort of the big story out of the press conference, is Lucas Fabianski. If you're at the game, you may or may not have seen it, because it wasn't really a major moment as such. But Fabianski sort of jumped on a loose ball and smothered it, and Felipe, the Nottingham Forest defender, sort of caught him with, like, I can't remember exactly, it was sort of like his knee or thigh, it was that part of his leg. Caught him on the side of the face, and he's down for ages. You saw Nerfagerd absolutely fuming at what had happened. It's now come out that it looks like Fabianski's got a suspected fractured cheekbone and eye socket, which is pretty nasty. So David Moyes says that they've got a surgeon's report back on it, but they don't know exactly what the best course of action is just yet, whether that is surgery or to whether it's heal naturally. Obviously, he's played all 24 league games so far from the start. He's come off in 3 of them with injuries, but the first 2 he come back from a matter of days later. He probably wouldn't have played tomorrow night. You suspect Alphonse Areola would have played, if he's fit, and sounds like he is. So, yeah, but it's quite a blow for Fabianski. Obviously, he's 37, I believe. His contract's up at the end of the summer, and, it is a blow for him. I think there is an option to extend him that contract, but, you feel like, obviously they paid money for Areola permanently, and long term that he will replace Fabianski, but clearly he's been deemed good enough to have kept his place all season. But it'll be interesting to see how long this exactly keeps him out for. I had one person tweet me about it, saying that James Tompkins suffered a similar injury, and he was out for quite a while with it. So fingers crossed it's something that Fabianski can recover from fairly quickly. But obviously there is that concern given the nature of the injury. Not something from a press conference, but shortly after it finished, actually, there was the news going around on Twitter that the World Soccer Agency, big agency, Gianluca Scamacca was on their books. However, they've decided to part ways with him, despite Scamacca being keen to stay with them. They cited a lack of trust in their statement. I have put it out on Twitter, and also we've got a story up on it on Football London, so you can read it all there. But yeah, quite an interesting one. It wasn't the most flattering of statements from World Soccer Agencies. Clearly something's happened there. That's kind of it, really. From here, everything David Moyes said in the live section is up on the website now. There will be a bit more like later tonight and tomorrow from the embargo section. So that's it from me. And if you're travelling up to Old Trafford, safe trip. And fingers crossed for a cup win tomorrow night.